This video is going to be a little bit of a discussion. If you don't like that, feel free to tune out now. However, if you are interested in hearing what I have to say about the Pyro after the Tough Break update, then by all means stay well and listen. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Degreaser, of course. So I've done a bunch of investigating on the subject of what the Pyro is like after the Tough Break update. And also kind of investigated what the weapon combinations work, how the weapons feel like now. And also thought about what would the future of Pyro look like because of all those significant changes that happened. What I'm going to do in this video first is I'm going to discuss the changes to the weapons. There are three main changes, which are the Degreaser, the Axtinguisher, and the Plogistinator. So I'm going to go over those first, and then I'm going to discuss a little bit what the future playstyle of the Pyro is going to look like. So the first weapon up is the Degreaser. This weapon has received a significant downgrade, I would say. For the most part, it has been buffed in one aspect, and that's the overall damage. The overall damage has been buffed. It used to have like a 10% damage reduction when you hold down the mouse 1 and walk at people. But that they now removed. They changed it by reducing the afterburn damage even more than it already was, which is a very significant nerf. Because the afterburn was like the main damage dealer that the Degreaser had. And then they also increased the air blast cost by a little bit. The people kind of blowed up on the nerf on this weapon. Okay, so the air blast cost is not really that significant. Normally, you have 200 ammo of a flamethrower, right? And air blasting costs 20 ammo, so you can use it 10 times. With this weapon, it costs 25% more, which means that it costs 25 ammo, which means that in a whole clip you can use it 8 times instead of 10. You're not really going to notice that all that much. I mean, you will pick up ammo packs from people that died and stuff, so you are not going to notice unless it's as significant as with the backburn, where it costs like 50 ammo to air blast once. What's also different is they changed weapon speeds, kind of. They made it differently. They kind of separated the holster and the deploy time. That's what they call it, which makes it kind of confusing. And also feared when I saw this stat at first is that it was only going to apply on the Degreaser itself. So when you switch to the Degreaser to your secondary or to your melee weapon and back. So not from your secondary to your melee, but actually it's your overall weapon switch speed that still changes. Which is weird. It's like a hidden stat. It makes it kind of confusing. I guess they did just kind of split up the two because some weapons actually have one of the two instead of both of them. So not overall weapon switch speed, but for example, the Axtinguisher only has deploy time reduction and not holster time reduction. But that's the Degreaser. People kind of blew up about this. It feels very much weaker. I have actually tried it out and it does feel weaker, especially that afterburn damage penalty that it has is very noticeable. The air blast isn't, as I mentioned. I kind of really dislike this change, but then again, what you need to keep in mind is that the overall weapon switch speed got nerfed. Well, got decreased. Well, the speed got increased, so the time it takes got decreased. That's what I'm trying to say. So the need for the Degreaser is actually reduced. You actually don't really need to use the Degreaser, and I actually had a pretty good time just using the default. But I'll talk about this at a moment. The second weapon I want to discuss is the Axtinguisher. Now the Axtinguisher, okay, this has received a significant nerf. They completely just redid the stats. I think somebody at the Valve headquarters just went like, hey, this weapon is overpowered. Here's some new stats we just throw on it really quickly. And they haven't actually tested the weapon out because it really just sucks now. They did remove the stat that you have to be behind people to get actually to quit, but the overall damage penalty has been reduced. So the crits are less significant, they do just overall less damage. Secondly, there's a slower firing speeds. So you need to, when you are up against a heavy, you definitely need to hit him twice. and now the second attack is going to be significantly slower. No random critical hits, I can completely understand that. That's the same as it used to be. But this weapon now also deploys 75% slower. This kind of defeats the whole purpose of this weapon, trying to quickly take out your melee weapon and finish off a target. So that's really significant change. I think this weapon is pretty much... weapon really sucks now. I mean, it's pretty much worse than the default. So I'm not really satisfied with the change to the Axtinguisher. I don't really understand. I mean, it was a pretty powerful combination, especially with the Degreaser, but to nerf it this much, it's now like one of the worst weapons in the game almost. It kind of looks like, at least. It used to be one of the better ones. So that really sucks, and I actually found myself having to use just the default standard melee weapon over this one. And the last but not least, and people went crazy over this change for some reason, is to the Plogistinator. Now, the Plogistinator has been buffed, yes, sure, but people went all like haywire, especially like the first week after the updates. Like, this weapon is super overpowered now. It is really not much more overpowered than it used to be. Look, the only thing that they really changed is now they give people uber charge when you charge up your crits when you use them. Right? You know that it takes some time to get your crits, you need to do fire damage. And when you got enough fire damage, you will have like, oh, your weapon is all shiny, and now you can pop it to crits. Your own little crit squeak on your flamethrower, you know? It always used to be overpowered. I mean, I made a video like 2 years ago, live commentary. I showed you some gameplay if I can do that. It's even back then. I said this weapon is just way too good. And just like the fact that they now receive an Uber when you charge up your crits is not really that significant. If I would go crazy on anything, I would go crazy on the change to the Axtinguisher, because that is a really significant one, and maybe the Degreaser. So it kind of feels like the developers are kind of actually like motivating people to WM1 after these changes. It's kind of concerning. The reverse of what I would have done is actually like buff the Degreaser and nerf the Plogistinator. The only reason I can really think of is that we all know that Valve is now like really working on competitive matchmaking right now for Team Fortress 2. I think you are probably well aware of that now. Rumors keep on spreading, and there's evidence being shown, and they also like supposedly there are competitive players already like testing out the beta version of the matchmaking, but they are under NDA, which means they can't talk about it legally. So, but the only thing I can think of is that they tested this out competitive and decided that, wait, the Degreaser is way too powerful in compared to the Plogistinator. The Plogistinator is like really weak, and the Degreaser is like the only weapon that a competitive player would use as a Pyro. Maybe that's the reason why it decided to turn things around to complete 180 and completely nerfed the Axtinguisher into the ground. That's the only reason I can think of. So what does the future of a Pyro look like? What if I was a Pyro that really loved using the Degreaser? Well, my dear boy, I actually had a good time, as I said, with the default flamethrower. No joke. Even though the switch speed is slower than it used to be before the Tough Break update with the Degreaser, it is still pretty fast, because in the Tough Break update, as I said, this overall switch speed got reduced. Well, again, the switch speed got increased, so it's less time to switch from one weapon to another. It went to 0.66 to 0.5, as I said in the update, which is very significant. I've found myself actually doing pretty well at switching to my secondary and melee weapon, even with the default weapon. So I think that's probably the new go-to for what used to be the Degreaser Pyro, the Pyros that don't like to do just to WM1. Blue I personally kind of stick to is the default, of course, as I said, and then the flare gun or the shotgun, and then actually just the third degree for some reason, because the third degree is just basically just a straight upgrade from the default, so I kind of use that, and I had a pretty good time. I still preferred if they didn't nerf the Degreaser, and I kind of dislike Pyro now, to be honest. I still play him occasionally, but I think that's the new go-to for skillful Pyros, and for the Pyros that just want to press WM1, that's fine by me. They can use the Plogistinator. I think that's still a good pick, still overpowered. I hope they do nerf that eventually. What that would do to change the Plogistinator is just increase its range and completely just remove the crits altogether. That's how I would balance out Plogistinator. But that's maybe just me. Anyways, I've been talking for more than 10 minutes. I haven't released a video in the last couple of weeks because I've been playing a lot of Warframe. Sorry about that. I will probably make a video about Warframe 2, talking about it a little bit, sharing my experience with that. Also really want to play Overwatch. Thanks for watching, and take care folks.